how many downloads of Jim and Bill It's Another Day podcast?
Today, the podcast show has fetched 400 million downloads since its start, and an average of 350,000 downloads per episode, about 3.9 million downloads per week.
Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. Well, I'll tell you what, the week is getting interesting as we go by every day. Fetterman, how long? I got a question.
What's that?
How long is he going to be a Democrat?
Well, he comes from a district that is, even though it's a Democrat district, it's really kind of a MAGA Democrat district. These are steel workers. It wouldn't surprise me if his constituents are happy about it. So he could be a Democrat and be voting like he did for quite some time. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but he's got he's got the of the Democrat Party, and I'm not saying that I'm a Fetterman guy, but he has been saying some things that have been making some sense. He was going for Pam Bondi. She's in, by the way. What was the vote? Like 54-46, something like that.
Something like that.
She's confirmed. Yeah. So.
Which is important. You say, well, how important is her? She's the Attorney General now, and she's one of the clubs of this administration, a weapon. And now that she's there, you're going to see an even stronger Trump administration, in my opinion. So it'll be. But we have so much to talk about today. Can you believe it's only been one day? I got a ton of stuff here. But first, before we do that.
Coffee!
Yes, we have to all get our coffee. And might I suggest you try our coffee, Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee. It is a delicious blend of the finest coffee beans available. And it's yours by going to our website, rightsideshop.com. Rightsideshop.com. You'll see a medium blend roast, a medium decaf roast, and also our new brand, which is Mappa. Our Mappa coffee. You're saying, what is Mappa? Bill, tell them what Mappa is.
Well, Mappa is, again, a premium coffee, but it has a very distinct-looking spokesperson, kind of an Indiana Jones guy that,
yes.
He's a
taking no prisoners.
We got a new sheriff in town. We got the new marshal in town, and I think you know who he is. But anyway, you want to get the coffee. It's a very cool package.
Well, what you're saying is you want the coffee for the packaging more than anything else.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a good roast blend. It's only the finest of coffee beans because no coffee bean just can sit there and say, I want to be a Mappa coffee bean.
That's true.
No, we interview them. We properly vet them at the border and then roast them in the United States. We do roast them in the United States, by the way.
You really, it's important that you vet your coffee beans. Anyway, you should see the interviews. They're very fascinating interviews.
I vet all my beans.
You've lost all your beans. Anyway, try Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee, will you? It's available at rightsideshop.com, rightsideshop.com. You can also go to our website, which is itsanotherday.com, and there's a button up on top. Just hit the button. It'll take you right to that shop. So
Right Side Shop, it says. So there, it gets you right to the store.
And we're the only coffee that is made in the world that have the internationally renowned Juan Jose and the Border Crossers sing the jingle.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Such a delicious coffee it is, really. It's
I wonder if the guys next year will get a Grammy for that jingle.
Well, they're hoping. I saw them looking at the Grammy Awards the other night and thinking, hey, that could be us,
Yeah, it could be us. And, we have such an easy, short song to sing.
That's true. But
we could even make it a Christmas song, put some jingle bells in the background,
It's loved by everybody around the world. I don't think they would do a jingle for anybody else. I mean, when you've done a jingle for the best coffee in the world, why would you do it for second best?
Once you've done the best, why do less?
Exactly.
Unless you're really desperate for a buck, and they're not, so...
Well, I don't know about that.
Well,
Anyway, interesting press conference yesterday. I don't know whether you happened to see it last night. It was Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump, and they were addressing the press, and Trump said something which completely lit a fire all around the world. I mean, the world is buzzing this morning. I don't know if you heard this, and I'm going to play the cut for you. I'll tell you what. I think what I'll do is I will play the cut. I'll play the cut, and then we'll talk about it. Listen to what he says here.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
Wow. So, I mean, literally, the Middle East is a buzz this morning with people, pros and cons. I mean, there are some countries that are very positive about this, but you know that the Hamas leaders are not satisfied. They're not happy with this. And I was thinking, Bill, and maybe this is wrong, but you know, President Trump thinks around corners, and you know, he made the suggestion, and Bibi Netanyahu was so enthusiastic about it. He was all in favor of it. He thinks it's a great idea. It's thinking out of the box, as Benjamin Netanyahu said. But I was thinking, is this a ploy on the part of President Trump? In that, is this a way for him to say to Hamas and other revolutionaries in that area, you better sit down and straighten this thing out now, right now, or you're going to lose the country. We're going to come in there, we're going to level the whole place, put in, Trump Tower Middle East, put in casinos, put in whatever, motels and restaurants, and you're not going to have a country at all. I think it's a ploy. I really do. I think he knows right now that the odds of them making it into the Riviera of the Mediterranean is slim.
All right, but what happens if they do? So they say, okay, Trump, we'll take you up on it.
Well, here's the other thing. I think Trump doesn't make any suggestion unless he thinks he can do it.
Yeah, I think he could. I mean, you could turn that into 5 years from now. It could be a destination capital.
Oh, absolutely.
Capital of the world, and it would be their money.
Well, here's the thing. Let's say you got Saudi Arabia, you got the United Arab Emirates, you got Jordan, all these well-to-do Middle Eastern countries to join in on the venture. You know, maybe the United States says, "Look, we'll maintain a security presence, and that will be there, and it will." They can't give it over to the Israelis. Hamas cannot give that property over to the Israelis. As much as we might want to think it's a great answer, even if the Israelis go in there and control it, there will always be an element of that country that is against it and fighting against it. There will never be a peace. Maybe Trump figures, look, if we have a presence there, it's kind of like a neutral presence, whereas it's not owned by Hamas, it's not owned by the Israelis. It benefits the people from Gaza. It benefits Israelis and other people of other nations.
It becomes its own entity.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are two ways of looking at this thing. I just don't think that. I think that Trump has figured both possibilities. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they say, yeah, it's a great idea, we'll go along with you. I think he can put the deal together because he's the guy who does that. It's the art of the deal. He'll get the money, the resources. They'll go in there. They'll clear out the mines. They'll take down the rubble and the old buildings. They'll relocate the people to a better habitat in neighboring countries, which is what they want to do. By the way, they want to move the 2 million people who live in Gaza, which is a lot of people, but not as much as heck. We've had 20 million people come across our border thanks to Joe Biden in the last 4 years. So 2 million, that's a walk in the park, especially.
Well, who's going to do the job of rebuilding?
Well, I think that we're talking about American companies going in there and tearing the place down and removing the ordinance from the property. And but I still think that his real goal is to get the revolutionaries in Gaza to stop the. They know that if they may lose their country to the west, meaning the United States, and if the United States goes in there and makes it a commercial venture, it may end up being owned by a bunch of different countries outside of their realm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They've either got to jump on board, get along, or get out. So, there's some decisions to be made. I think it's a good gamble.
Either way, it's a great idea. Either way, he's moving the ball down the field. Whereas Joe Biden was talking about returning to a two-country, living side by side in anger. There was no way that Joe Biden's plan for that area would work because it was just returning it to a stalemate and more festering. More.
Yeah, but does Joe stand to, or did the Democrats or the bureaucrats stand to gain more from that? Just letting the turmoil go on.
Maybe the what do they call it? The military complex that makes revenue from selling arms. What are they? Industrial arms?
The industrial complex.
Yeah, maybe they would make millions of dollars. I don't know,
billions.
But this to me says to the people who want to continue fighting in Gaza that their destination doesn't exist anymore. Meaning, their idea of completely controlling Gaza and getting rid of Israel, it ain't going to happen.
So you're saying they've been thought out of business or existence?
Well, I think so. I think so. This is, and I could see Netanyahu and Trump sitting down in private in the Oval Office discussing this as being a terrific idea to generate movement and stability in that area.
Well, it depends how you look at it. They say they're winners and losers and everything, but actually, if you sit there and look at it at face value, nobody loses.
Well, unless you're a revolutionary in Gaza, unless you like.
Okay, well, what do they gain though? Ultimately, a revolutionary. Okay, so they go and they blow things up and they create havoc. All right, what do they gain from that?
Well,
our fear.
First of all, I hate to say this, but most revolutionaries, in my opinion, are not the most schooled or learned people. I mean, there are some in the group who are, but for the most part, they're not. They're malleable. They're easily influenced by these leaders. They have nothing to gain by continuing the fight. But here's the thing. Someone made a very good point last night. If this is to work, if Trump's idea is to work, they would have to go into that area and literally not just control the land, but control like the educational system. You would have to start teaching the youth not to hate, which is what they do now. Part of their curriculum is to hate the Jews. And
but how long would it take? I mean, if you start now, maybe in 5 years, you would see a different attitude starting to filter in and filter through.
Well, it would take probably longer than that because I don't know how they'd do it, to be honest with you, because the moms and dads of these kids are programmed to hate. So they just make it, homeschooling as opposed to having it taught in school. Just
well, yeah, hate's been, in a free society here, hate has been nurtured and festered, and
what do you think, Bill? Do you think that a Gaza that is owned by the United States and rebuilt and made into a destination location, do you think that would work?
Well, okay, let's take a look at some other place that's in the news right now, Panama. If we did this, we have to put measures in, that protect certain interests forever, and whatever they may be.
Yeah,
like
that's
right
true.
now, we had a situation arise in Panama, which it looks like it's diffused now, and China's getting out. This is a bad week for China. They're
Yeah.
losing Panama. The USPS now has suspended all packages temporarily from China and Hong Kong, which means if you're waiting for your Amazon widget that's coming from China,
Yes.
it's stuck in a port because now
Yeah.
it's got to be taxed.
Oh, my
and,
God.
and so you're not going to get it. They're going to refund your money maybe, and then they're going to send it back saying, there's a tariff. It's going to cost more to send this.
I should point out, people don't realize this. I saw an interview where they went down to, they talked about either end of the Panama Canal being controlled by China. And so they sent a crew down there. And
Right.
it looked like a town in China. It was not that that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sound racist here. With the left, everything you say about when you discuss nationality, you're a racist. But what's interesting is this area, which is supposed to maintain neutrality, the Panama Canal Zone, part of their deal in 1977 that they signed for the transfer of the power of the canal in '79, part of that deal was that they had to maintain neutrality, and they haven't done that. So this is why the United States went down there and said, "Hey guys, you violated your deal. We're going to take it back if you don't straighten us out." And within a half a day, they did. But anyway, the camera crews went down there at one end and then the other end. These are Chinese encampments. They have whole cargo areas filled with shipping containers that are owned and controlled by China. You don't even know what's in there. And this is at our doorstep. The other thing that gets me, and they don't talk about this at all, but for people who are coming across our border from like Venezuela and other South American countries, in order for them to get here, they have to cross the Panama Canal. They have to cross the Panama Canal. Why is that being allowed, for one thing?
Right.
Why wouldn't they say, no, you haven't got a visa to come through here, go back to Venezuela? But whoever's controlling Panama say, no problem, just keep going. Nobody talks about that, but that's the truth. Take a look at the map. You'll see for yourself. The Darien Gap, I believe, is below the Panama Canal. So they have two things that they have to get through. They have to get through the Darien Gap, which, in case you don't know, at the very northern part of South America, as it connects to Central America, is this heavily jungled area called the Darien Gap. And it is you have to get through it with a guide because it ain't easy. There's no way of getting through otherwise. But that being said, let me point something out. Speaking of China, they've started to build a road through the Darien Gap. This is China. Now, why would China be building a road through the Darien Gap? Because they benefit from instability in our country.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they benefit from. So, hey, you having a problem getting through that jungle? Well, hey, we'll get our engineers here. We'll build a nice highway you can walk through, maybe a rest area, too. Would you like a rest area? Fine. That's what they're doing. But to get here also, they have to cross the Panama Canal. And, my God, they're letting them do it. If we control the Panama Canal like we should have, because we lost 38,000 people, if we control the Panama Canal, well, we wouldn't have had this border problem, or it wouldn't be as big as it was, because we would have stopped them at the Panama Canal. So I would submit to you that Jimmy Carter, when he gave that away for $1 and an agreement to Panama.
That was stupid. That was a very stupid
He
thing.
was the guy who propped the door. He unlocked the door to our southern border. He may not have opened it like Biden did, but he went down and turned the key so people could come through.
Was it a long-term plan to unlock the door, and Biden just decided time to kick it open?
Who knows, Bill? they do think long term. Globalists think long term. By the way, speaking of globalists, you know who was making the rounds of the TV shows yesterday? He was on The View. He was on the morning show. Bill Gates.
Of course.
Bill Gates was talking about how millions of people are going to die because we're not giving money through USAID. By the way, do not pronounce it as U.S. aid because it's not supposed to be that way. I think it's U.S. Agency for International Development. But they put it together, that acronym, so that people look and say, oh, isn't that nice, USAID? It's not USAID, you know.
It has nothing to do with us.
Nope. It is actually a way for the deep state to blow your money without you knowing about it.
As I understand, USAID, which is not aid, but the USAID, is with Trump gone.
Well, yeah, and of course the left is fighting that. By the way, before I forget, Bill, you know, this was interesting. Trump is, by the way, he's done more talking to the media in the last 2 weeks and 2 days than Joe Biden did in like 4 years. And when Joe Biden did talk to the media, it was and he'd walk away. And people would say, oh, what did he say? Anyway, this is interesting. Peter Ducey, you can hear him in the gaggle of reporters, had an interesting question for Trump. I want you to hear how he answered this. Listen to this.
It's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why. Lack of intelligence, perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, he would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran.
So that's interesting. What he said was...
poison pill.
He said, listen, it would be terrible. They haven't done it, obviously, but if they do it to me, not because of me, but if they do it to me or somebody close to me, like the vice president or secretary of state, somebody like that, if that happens, it would instantly trigger the total annihilation of said attacking country.
Now, let me ask you a question. Let's just throw it out there, that somebody, an internal group, maybe traced back to somebody with deep state ties to a political party,
right,
decides to take out Trump or the vice president or the secretary of state.
Well, I got to tell you what I think would happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would. It would probably be summary execution. I mean, if you're going to do a summary execution of a country based upon that, if somebody internally does something like that, and now we are a country of laws, I take that back. It probably would be different, but I do think that there would maybe the only sentence that would be available to somebody like that would be a capital punishment.
Mm-hmm. Because Democrats were protesting in front of the Treasury, and they were calling for violence. You know, I won't say it, but they said, "GD, we're at war. We will bring the fire." Is that not?
You won't say it because you're a gentleman. I'm going to play the cut, and I'm going to tell you, she said something which is she takes the Lord's name in vain, and this is a representative from. This is a representative from I don't know where, to be honest with you. She's a U.S. representative. Her name is LaMonica McIver. And listen to what she says.
Republicans, that we will not take this. We will fight back. Fight back. Fight back. And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign country of the United States of America. We are at war. Thank you.
Okay, now that was this lady, but she was not alone. She wasn't alone. Massachusetts Representative Ayanna Presley had this to say.
And I want to say to our Republican colleagues, pay attention. We're here today in the hopes that you will see the light. But if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
Okay, so that to me is another signal that they want to bring riots to the streets. Also, there was never to miss a good opportunity to act like a revolutionary. Here's that beer chugging Elizabeth Warren.
Now, no one elected Elon Musk to nothing. That's right. Not one Democrat in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one. Not one Republican in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one independent in America voted for Elon Musk. Not one libertarian in America voted for Elon Musk. Damn, not one vegetarian in America voted for Elon Musk. And yet, Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back.
It's amazing. These people are amazing. Right. I'm going to play a little bit. I got a 4-minute cut because you can't shut Maxine Waters up. When Maxine
was there,
yeah. When you get Maxine Waters on a podium and there's a crowd out there and she can incite them, she just is in her element. Listen.
Hello, everybody. We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. Right. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you could get all of our private information. Nobody told you could be in charge of the payments of this country. We have told you you've made enough money off our government yourself. And now you want to take everybody else's payroll and make sure that they don't make the kind of money that you've made. Oh, you want to use our money to go to Mars. No, we want to use our money right here in Washington, D.C., in this country. We want to make sure that all of our federal employees are protected. That's right. We've got to make sure that you know and understand nobody elected you. You think you're the president of the United States of America, the co-president that can take over, go into our private payment system and do whatever you want to do. You got another thought coming. We're going to stop you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a crisis in this country. We're in a crisis in this country because Trump and Elon Musk and the billionaires have decided they're going to put us all in our place. They're going to run this country. They're going to make sure that they take over everything. Are we going to let them do that?
No. It goes on for another 2 minutes and 31 seconds, but I don't want to lose our audience because she just rants like this. You know, somebody's got to sit down with these people and explain to them the hard truth that you lost the election. All right?
Yeah, and, you know, they keep throwing the billionaires with Trump and all of that. Well, what about the billionaires with the Democrats? You know, let's be honest. You guys raise more money than anybody has ever raised in a short period of time for Kamala. And you see what that got you because the American public didn't buy your load of manure.
That's true. Exactly.
That's it.
Well said.
You know,
they're also inciting people to violence.
Yeah,
and I guess what I'm waiting, maybe this will happen now that we have an attorney general, but these people who are in Congress have a responsibility to maintain a certain level of decorum and not to incite people to break the law.
Well, now that's interesting because I remember going back to January of 2020, and Trump said, go there and go peacefully.
Yep.
He said that.
Yes.
All right. But here in this statement, like you go back to Schumer, you rule the day.
Yeah.
And here they are going, damn it. We're at war. And I've heard nothing but violent rhetoric threatening anybody that doesn't see you. We're going to show you the light. If you don't see it, we're bringing it. We're bringing the fire. Well, that's a threat.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. She kept saying, nobody elected you to do this. Nobody told you can. Wait, I'm thinking to myself, wait, flag on the play. The President of the United States of America, the third co-equal branch of government, they asked him to do that, which means he has the authority to do it there, Maxine.
Yeah, just because, he got in doesn't mean that, your policies continue. America wants a change. You're the dirty laundry, so jump in the hamper and go get cleaned up or get out.
I think there's a desperation on their part.
Oh, definitely.
I think, Bill, they realize, and I feel this is the truth, that Trump has an urgency this time to his administration, that he's going to do in 4 years what other presidents would do in 12. He's going to pack so much in. And by the way, there will be lawsuits, and the media will tell you how much of a dictator he is, but he's not running for anything anymore, and he knows that he has 77 million people who voted him in to do just what he's doing.
He's done more in 2 weeks than a lot of presidents have done in their whole term, and I don't think he's going to stop the process. Yeah, they're going to file lawsuits, but they might be sitting there going, well, how many of these lawsuits are going to get to see the light of day? Yeah. How many can they, if they file 1,000 lawsuits, are they going to have the time, the manpower, the wherefore to fight them all? That means that many of these laws, not all of them, but many of these laws are going to come to fruition. And we're, even in the short term, the things that you've seen, I dare you to sit there and show me, I challenge you to sit there and show me where it's a negative.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing.
So far, everything has been a positive.
AOC, she was a bartender before. She well qualified to be to be a representative in her district. She's the representative, AOC, and she's one of the Democrat leaders. And this is the lady who about 2 years ago did a video explaining that she was just in complete amazement of the fact that they had such things as garbage disposals. And she was just taken back by, this is a garbage disposal. She didn't even know how it worked. Anyway, now she sits in front of the camera yesterday, and she says this. Listen.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed. Which, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways.
Listen, this, dare I say the word, 2 words actually, numbskull. This numbskull, AOC, Alejandria Ocasio-Cortez, she she's calling Elon Musk, the guy who can throw a rocket into space and then catch the catch the thing on the way back. I mean, that's never been done before. Elon Musk. This is a guy who he touches things. He has the Midas touch. He touches things, they turn to gold. And she's talking like this guy Musk needs our money. No, he's the world's, dare I say, richest man.
Well, she's trying to say that he only got his money by being a thief, and that's, if you know the Elon Musk story, that is nowhere near true. But you know, she sounded like Kamala Harris there, because she was get it out of your skull there, baby. You're not, baby girl, you're not sounding so well there. That was kind of a word salad you were spitting out.
Well, I think they realize there's a certain element of their followers that they're equally as challenged, and they
numbskulls.
Yeah, and they all it's kind of like a numbskull convention when she does a video, and it's when I hear those people, by the way, at that rally at the Treasury yesterday, where Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren and Ed and the other people were there, most of those people who are going, yay, they're employees. These are government employees who are probably going to get bounced by this administration. So they're out there, rallying along with the people. But in the long run, these people are going to be asked to leave. And by the way, I don't know if you heard this or not, but there's quite a lot of them who I think they said
They're
that
taking the package to go.
I think did they say 20,000 CIA employees are being asked to leave. It says 1,000 bureaucrats at the EPA have got termination notices. This is starting to happen. By the way, I have to remind people, they're not being kicked to the curb. They're being offered 8 months severance. Now, I don't know whether you think about it for a second, but usually when you get fired in broadcasting, they would say, here's your 2-week check. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I mean, that's how a lot of businesses work. 8 months severance? You can go out and get a job, go on vacation, come back, do your lawn, paint your house, and then go to work. That to me is very generous, Bill.
Now, one of the things I meant to mention yesterday, and maybe I'm stupid for mentioning it because, the student loan forgiveness that Joe put in, and I think Trump was going to overturn that.
Yeah.
One of the things that they did, and the only reason I know this is I went to go do my taxes on Monday. And, when I was sitting there, the young lady that does my taxes, she was busy, and she's a conservative, a very staunch conservative. And she was going, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know if Trump even knows about it, but what they contracted her and several other accountants to sit there and just take these loans. They give them a stack of loans and say, write them off, cancel them right now, write them off. They're writing off these loans as quick as possible. And I'm sitting there going, that's not right.
And this is the deep state doing this. This is Biden obviously is gone. So Biden issued these certain orders, and these orders are still in effect. And obviously the Trump people haven't had a chance to close that door yet. So while that door is open, they're processing all this stuff.
So if you're listening to the podcast and you hear that, take note that they are going there. There are CPAs and accountants all over the country right now that are getting paid federal dollars, that are sitting there just writing off that debt.
Wow.
And which means once it's written off, it's done.
This is the problem, by the way, that we've had with the previous administration. They put all of these worms in the government, all of these time bombs, all of these landmines that they've planted so that this administration that we have now will have a problem. And I don't want to hear, by the way, the left complaining about these executive orders that President Trump is issuing, because Joe Biden issued 8,000. So Trump's got a long way to go. The media is talking about all these executive orders, but Trump has got a long way to go, Bill.
Because Joe's executive orders, I'd say they didn't mean anything. They do mean something. And the sad thing is, one of the things Doge is doing is getting rid of the long-term entrenched employees that sit there, the G1s through G15s. I mentioned them yesterday. Yeah. But these are the people that sit there like when they get the text thing. Yeah. But they also have unelected authority.
Yes.
To make changes in a bill, in a law or something. Yes. And go, well, Senator, we made a few changes for you because, okay, yeah, that's fine. You go ahead and do that. And they're there long after that president or that senator is gone, and they keep going. And that is the undertow, the undercurrent in this country that keeps all these bad policies in place, and probably where a lot of these woke things were born to begin with that overtook everything.
Yes.
And blown out of proportion. You might have an nth of the population that is woke. And, if that's your what you are, that's what you are. But don't make it bigger than what you are. And this is
James O'Keefe just did a video. I would recommend this to our listeners. Go take a look at his latest video where it's they capture a GS-14 level employee of Homeland Security telling the person with the hidden camera, when Kristi Noem comes down with your orders, we'll shake our head and but we'll do what we have to do.
She's dumb.
Yeah.
She's stupid. She doesn't know anything.
He says at one point, I don't think much of her. I don't like her at all. Well, this is a guy who's, by the way, he's at GS-14. By the way, he's only about 30. GS-14, I think the highest level is GS-15.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Bill, he's making good money. This guy's making good money. He's showing off to his this date of his who's videotaping him. You would think there'd be a memo that would be issued if you go on a date with some new person, don't discuss business. It could be a trap. But these people continue to walk into him.
Because they're stupid, they're not politicians. But that GS, 14 level or 15, that is a pretty high pay grade, higher than some politicians might be earning.
Well, they're getting rid of a lot of them, by the way. They're getting rid of a lot of them. By the way, that one guy from Homeland Security, he's I guess he hasn't been kicked out yet, but he's on his way out. They're putting charges up against him for opening his big mouth. Some guys.
Well, he should be on his way out. And I mean, come on, he's an idiot.
Yep. I wanted to play this for you. Caroline Leavitt talked about something interesting yesterday. That, by the way, the stuff that's really interesting doesn't get much coverage by mainstream media because it makes the Trump administration look like it's doing its job. And that's not the job of mainstream media. You're not going to find people at NBC, CBS, or ABC. You're not going to see them giving any kudos to President Trump because it's their job to stick it to him. So, that being said, Caroline Leavitt said this.
President Trump is not messing around, and he's no longer going to allow America to be a dumping ground for illegal criminals from nations all over this world. And so El Salvador has not just agreed to the repatriation of their own citizens, but also illegal criminals from other nations who will then be sent to their prisons. Venezuela as well has agreed to repatriation flights, and Colombia also agreed to cooperate with the repatriation of illegal Colombian nationals that we have found in the interior of our country. And I can also confirm that today, the first flights from the United States to Guantanamo Bay with illegal migrants are underway.
Well, there you go. And he's building 30,000 more cells at Guantanamo. My question to you is this, Bill. A lot of people speculate, as do I, that it's not going to be just illegal terrorists in those cells. It will be people who've committed treason in the United States. People have been caught for committing treason. I would submit that there are some people in government right now who have been planning and working to bring our country down. They're very nervous. They're very nervous. They might even be on the street trying to get people to rally around them to raise hell, start the revolution, because they're about to have the curtain pulled back, and we're going to see who's the Wizard of Oz really is, if you know what I mean. And
I think we're going to be surprised when we see who's behind the curtain or how many people are behind the curtain.
Yeah, I think that a lot of, Bill, I think you and I won't be surprised because I think you and I have talked about this before.
Nothing will surprise me coming out of this government or, even, stuff that gets revealed that's been going on for years and years. I don't think that the democracy that we're sold that we have, I don't think in most of our lifetime, any of us have really had it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, who I like.
Mm-hmm.
He has a down home kind of way of talking. It sounds like he's just got off his tractor, right? I want to tell the people who don't know this. I think he's a Rhodes Scholar.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a terrific educational pedigree. The guy is, but he sounds like he's got a piece of straw in his teeth. Well, which is not a bad thing, by the way. Because some of the smartest people in the world that I've met are people who do an honest job for a living. But Senator Kennedy was talking about USAID and how the left is going bananas over the fact that USAID is going to be no more. And they're even talking about other branches of government going away. Listen.
To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be the Department of Education tomorrow. As a matter of fact, President Trump is writing out an executive order. If it isn't already prepared, it's being prepared now to take apart the Department of Education. And I hear people say, oh, there are going to be challenges. I think he welcomes the challenges.
Yeah, and they go, "Oh, he's an idiot." Did you read this? And they're trying to equate everything to Project 2025, which it was some group that put it together as a wish list, and it took a lot of conservative values and put it in there, and some other things too. But they want to sit there and take this thing and scare you with it. But
Project 2025. I don't know how many times Trump could have said it. He said, I have never even read it.
But here's the deal. Everything that Trump does, he's doing an executive order. He didn't sit down with a pen and paper and write it himself. He goes,
lawyers,
I would like to do this. How do we do it? All right, let me take care of that for you, sir.
Yeah.
And I will have that executive order, read it over, and then they explain it to him. You go, okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Nope, change this here. All right. He's got a legal team.
Yes.
Every president has had that writes it. Even Biden in his stupidity. I think I understand what you want, sir, and I'll write that up for you.
Those guys are in their pay because I couldn't figure out what the heck he was talking about.
No, I mean, there's people that read sign language.
Yes.
I don't know what you have to read.
Wouldn't that be a tough job for Biden, being somebody who has to sign one of his press conferences? I mean, in the lower quadrant of the screen, you have the sign person. I gotta think that their eyes had to cross at some point where Biden was starting to.
I would be sitting there making the stuff up as I went, going.
I think they were probably saying.
Mary had a little.
They probably were saying, "Help me! I don't know what he's saying."
This guy is an idiot. But it's kind of crazy. But
interesting. Tom Homan was on TV with Hannity the night before last. They were talking about Governor Phil Murphy. Governor Phil Murphy, we talked about this on the show yesterday. This genius Democrat governor from New Jersey, he said, and I don't know why he did this, but I think that like a lot of numbskulls in government, they think that they're above the law and they can actually talk their way out of just about anything because they're that smart. But he said he had an illegal in an apartment, a room over his garage, and he'd like to see anybody from ICE try to come in and take that person away. That's what he said. Here's what Tom Homan said. Listen.
Let me read a headline to you. Chicago leaders encourage residents to exercise their rights in resisting Trump's deportation policies. The governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, basically admitted that he knew somebody that didn't have full documentation, that he was hiding over his garage.
But there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
Your comment on all of that?
I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it. Won't let it go. We'll look into it. And if he knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, that's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that. And as far as suing sanctuary cities, well, get in line, because the Trump administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. There's one example, right? If the young sanctuary cities in New York City, if they would have gave us over the killer of Laken Riley when he got arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he would have been in jail, and he would never kill Laken Riley. Sanctuary cities are responsible for the deaths of thousands of young children throughout my career, and we're going to sue him. We're going to hold him. And look, if he's got to go to the Supreme Court, that's what President Trump wanted to do. He will end sanctuary cities.
What's interesting is I had a chance to see the video of that, and obviously Homan hadn't heard that report from the governor of New Jersey, and so Hannity asked him, and Homan is looking almost in disbelief, like, could this governor be this dumb to have literally said that I have an illegal over my garage? And I'd like to see you feds come out and try to get... See, here's what the governor doesn't realize, that not only is that illegal, breaking the law by being on his property, being in the garage, but the governor is too. And no governor, no politician is above the law. We heard that all the time during the lawfare trials with President Trump. No politician, no person is above the law. Well, Governor Murphy, it looks like you're going to find out real soon whether you are going to be spending some of your time in jail or whether you're going to cooperate with the feds. I mean, is that a smart move? Also, it's interesting. He also talked about sanctuary cities. We've talked about this on this program on a number of occasions. We've said they sound to me to be totally illegal. The idea of a sanctuary city just doesn't make any sense at all, because they're in violation of our laws. Yet they've allowed them to exist and to flourish. You hear, mayors of Chicago and San Francisco and L.A. talk about being sanctuary cities like that's something really to be envied. We've gone above and beyond the call of duty. We've turned our city into a sanctuary city. No, you've turned it into a place, a refuge for criminals, because everybody who uses your place, for the most part, is a criminal. Even the people who come there with their families, if they came across the border, they intentionally broke our laws, which is a definition for what? Being a criminal. So now I guess Homan is saying that's going to change. And I think that, we talked about Pam Bondi being the attorney general. I think that her being there now gives these people the backstop that they need at justice that they haven't had. I mean, even with the acting attorney general, it just wasn't there. It was a lifetime justice employee who was filling the gap. Now we have somebody who's an enthusiastic supporter of what this administration is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead. You I can tell you want to say something here. So.
No, I was just sitting there going, that governor doing what he did.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, it's actually taunting. They're not thinking that he's going to do anything, or they're going to try to.
I think I think you're right.
Or it's staging to create a scene and a situation, because they need to pick fights, and that's probably a fight they're picking.
Yeah.
You know?
You see where Letitia James is challenging President Trump?
Yeah, over the child sex change thing, saying ignore his orders on that.
Yeah, listen to what she said.
We did not expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result. And my office has been preparing for several months because we've been here before. We faced this challenge before, and we used the rule of law to fight back. And we are prepared to fight back once again. Because as the Attorney General of this great state, it is my job to protect and defend the rights of New Yorkers and the rule of law. And I will not shrink from that responsibility.
Oh, my God. This lady, somebody should... she's
the rule of law. What about the rights of the young children?
Well, she doesn't care about those. She really doesn't. She is, I think her nose is bent back that Trump is the president now. And I still think she thinks that she has some power. I think she's going to overstep.
Well,
do you think that President Trump is allowing these people to mess up so he can get them in some kind of a...
well, here's what I would tell Letitia. And Letitia, if you get a copy of this, think about this now. Your words are now etched in stone by a burning bush in, let's say, West Texas. They are a piece of history.
Yep.
You can scrub it. You can try to deny you've ever said it. But let me just put it this way. A young child, all right, gets a sex change because you said it was okay. You said it was okay. You are going to protect that right, whether it's that kid's decision or not. And down the road, they find out, I didn't really want to do this. Or there's physical harm to them. Oh, my dear baby girl, it's your fault. It's on your doorstep. And I hope you protect all your assets and your derriere, because you're going to be sued till the cows come home.
I think she is breaking the law by encouraging the hospitals to ignore the law. I think she's breaking the law as Attorney General. And I think she's going to put herself into a slingshot. She's going to end up being in trouble down the road. And it's going to be because, again, I go back to Pam Bondi, who's going to have a lot of things on her desk when she sits down on day one.
Well, Letitia talks about the rule of law. Whose law? Whose law is she going by? The rule of her law? The rule of the law of her, of the person that she reports to? Because obviously Letitia doesn't, and New York doesn't report to, the government.
Well, she's talking about, I think in her case, she's talking about New York law.
Yeah.
But there's also federal law that you cannot ignore, Letitia.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
She can't ignore that. And I don't give a damn what Hochul says, because she's an idiot too.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens down the road. I got to ask you another question, Bill. Something happened yesterday at the Capitol that people aren't talking about at all. So we'll talk about it because people should know. Capitol Police responded to a suspicious vehicle at the north barricade of the U.S. Capitol building yesterday. It was empty. It was a white SUV with government plates on it. It was sitting there, and they had bomb-sniffing dogs go out there. And I guess they got the all clear after a considerable period of time. They had to do some serious investigating. My question is, are we being tested? Is something, are these non-events like that truck the beginning of something that's going to happen down the road, you think?
Well, I would think so. I mean, there's concern that there's going to be threats against Trump and his team, their lives. And, he's put into play on that. So what that could be is a message, a warning, or, as you say, call it a test. It's a distraction, to where they wear you down. That's nothing. So sooner or later, somebody goes, just another empty van. Don't, boom. They're trying to wear you down. That's what they're trying. That's how I'd look at it.
Again, I should remind people, we've talked about this. You push these people in the deep state further and further into the corner when they become more and more desperate, they will do things that aren't terribly rational. I think they will become more vicious, like a lot of cornered animals. You corner them into a situation where they see no escape. Their only act of escape is to attack, and I think we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there.
Who have we not heard from recently in politics that's evil and twisted?
Say again.
Who have we not heard from
in politics?
In politics, that's evil and twisted and maniacal.
Oh God, this
evil stuff.
Bill, there's such a list. There's such a list of
who
evil.
comes with top of mind.
Oh, George Soros.
Hillary.
Oh,
Barack
well, there's
even.
two right there. Yeah,
Barack even. Well, Barack's got problems.
Oh,
He's got marriage problems. So,
yeah.
But, this might be a way for him to get his yahas by causing mayhem. But, I'm just saying there's some people out there that have always had their say, and they're just being
That's
quiet
interesting
right
you
now.
should say that. Those supposedly are the kingpins in that deep state movement. Supposedly it's Barack and Soros and Hillary. Barack, like Bill said, they've got marital problems, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle didn't go to the inauguration or the Carter funeral. So either she is tired of wearing dresses, I don't know, or you read that as you may, or she just wants to separate herself from the political scene. I don't know, but Hillary, I can't see Hillary going quietly into the night. Can you?
No, she's evil. So Soros and so I wouldn't doubt that they are sitting there in some secure room having meetings with other people, and even vocal mouthpieces that are there to, okay, we can spin this way, we can spin that. Okay, you do that. I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
So I can spin this. There's some dark plans going on. Trump has had 4 years to put together a plan of action. And what's your plan? He didn't talk about it.
Yes.
Now you're seeing the plan. The plan has been laid out for you.
And that's an interesting point. We think that he's taken these 4 years to do just what he's doing now. This is not like impromptu thinking on his part. This is not like, oh, what should we do now? He's had 4 years to chart out exactly what he wants should he become president again. And he probably got the greatest minds, both legal and government-wise, to advise him. And that's where he is right now.
Well, think about this. He was attacked with lawfare. Everything they could throw at him, they did. Well, you could look at that two ways. He was defending himself, spending a lot of money, or you could look at that as research. Okay, what are they doing? How are they doing it? Who's behind it all? And all of that was, it was costly.
Yeah.
But all of this kind of circles back to the camp. And so maybe that was all part of the intel too. It's like, okay, yeah, let's, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's see what you got.
I couldn't help but think that with all of the executive orders we've seen in just a little over 2 weeks, all of the movement that he's had, I think of, was it in basketball where they flood the zone, where they just overwhelm the other people. When you overwhelm the opposition, they haven't got time to shore up their defenses, and they become weaker. And I think that's what Trump is doing. Trump is doing so much. I mean, think about it for a second. All of the things he's implemented, if he did one of those things over the last 2 weeks, it would be a big deal. But he's done like one every day, maybe two on a daily basis.
Funny you should take that analogy that he's overwhelming doing basketball. I see some theatrics there that you might see in wrestling or MMA, where he's being boisterous and he comes out with things, but he's got a different demeanor now. It could all be because he's fans of all of these things.
Right.
So, and then he has the art of he has his style, the art of the deal. And maybe he's taking things from other things that he's into and going, you know what? I can take something from that. I can take something from this and that over there. And I can bring this all here to bear on my opponents. And you're right. They're being overwhelmed, and there's no way to defend against that.
Have you noticed, and nobody's mentioned this either, see the things you get on this program you get nowhere else. It's amazing. But Trump, when he was running for election, would wear a kind of a lightish blue suit, not a sky blue, but it was blue. It wasn't a dark blue. It wasn't navy blue. It was a blue suit, white shirt, and a red tie. Now he's president, and he wears dark suits, white shirt, and a blue tie all the time. He's not wearing his campaign outfit anymore. He has a different, and people have noticed, as have we, that his demeanor is different. It's more serious than he was before.
You know who else does that did that was Ronald Reagan. His coat, his tie, his shirt, all had significance. And I only know this not from studying politics, but,
right.
When I was sitting there, in the corporate world going, how to dress for success, they went back and looked at Ronald Reagan to say, take a page from Reagan, and then a lot of politicians followed suit because, it is the visual impression and the message. There's a message in what you wear.
Bill. It's the whole package.
It's all part of the package.
Yeah.
You even saw before he was running for president, and you see him out designer clothes, all fit to a T. And even going around the first time around, he was pretty well that way. When he was coming back the second time, he wanted to be America's president. And his suits were a little more, and the lawfare helped out. He looked a little bit more, weathered like the rest of us, and his clothes were a little frumpier. And then all of a sudden, he's back in, and all of a sudden, like you said, there's a change. Now, I do notice when he goes out to, like when he went to North Carolina, he went to California, then he was back to just, these are my work clothes.
Yes.
I'm out here. I'm going to get down and wallow in the mud with you. I got to do what I got to do to see what I have to do to help you.
I got to tell you, on a personal basis, and I like to wear very casual stuff. I just don't like wearing a suit every day. My dear father was an attorney, and all of his life he wore a suit. But he was so much into suits and ties. On his days off, when he was sitting around the house, he'd be wearing basically a white shirt and a tie. He didn't look comfortable, but it was his outfit. He felt comfortable in it. I like to wear blue jeans and a T-shirt or a sweatshirt. And to a point, though, that now being older and not being day-to-day in the workforce, you kind of, people don't take you seriously when you're dressed casually. They don't think of it. They look at you, for example, you may be a Phi Beta Kappa from a great university, but if the people don't know you, you walk in with blue jeans and a sweatshirt on, they think what has this guy got to offer? And it's true. Now, some people use that to their advantage because they like the idea of people taking them, not taking them seriously. Then they can overwhelm them with their great genius, like me.
Yeah. Well, one thing
you should see the face he just gave me.
One thing I know about Trump, he studied Kennedy.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy. He studied Reagan. He loved Reagan. And so he's into all of this. He is a businessman. He learned a lot from his dad. They always try to economically make fun of him going, well, at the Wharton Business School or
Right.
whatever. They would never do that. His degree is as an economist, and he did very well.
Yes, he did.
As that came from Wharton.
Yes.
So, stick it up where the sun don't shine with that argument. He actually knows what he's doing when it comes to money. Well, he had businesses that failed. Well, guess what? Every entrepreneur out there that has made it, with very few exceptions, have all had failures. I was reading the guy, I forget his name, the guy from Pawn Stars.
Mm-hmm. Rick, I can't think of his last name. Harrison. Harrison.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Rick Harrison. He sat there and he had like 23 failures before he hit.
Yeah.
You learn from your mistake, you pick up and you go on. More businesses fail than succeed. So, and I'm not saying that he's had a lot of failures. Actually, he hasn't.
He's had more successes than failures, but he's had some.
But the one thing that he's also figured out what to do, and is this stupid or smart?
Yes.
If he's got an albatross around his neck, a company that's not doing well, do you just bail out and take the loss, or do you find somebody that wants it and it moves forward to where, or you break it down and to where you get, either way you end up with money, that even in the loss, you come out on the positive side.
Trump does believe in the value of image. I mean, even when he's on the golf course, he wears a certain look. He wears the golfing shirt and the nice pants. Of course, when you're worth several $1 billion, you can afford to have somebody make sure you have clean, pressed wardrobe all the time. I'm sure President Trump has that. He probably has a personal valet who takes care of all that stuff, which is a good thing. And he probably has, if he has one blue suit, he has probably 20 blue suits, just like it. Anyway, this is an interesting story. Zelensky was on TV being interviewed by Piers Morgan yesterday. Right. Piers Morgan does a show in Great Britain. He's done it here, too. People in the U.S. know who he is. He was on CNN for a while. Piers Morgan had Zelensky out. You're going to hear the voice of an interpreter, a woman talking, but she's interpreting Zelensky. Try to follow along with what Zelensky said yesterday and see whether you think he's on the right page internationally. Listen.
Which support package, which missiles, will we be given nuclear weapons? Then let them give us nuclear weapons. Will they give us the missiles in the quantities that we can stop Russia? And I'm not sure of that, but I think it would help. Otherwise, what missiles can stop Russia's nuclear missiles? That is a rhetoric question. So let's do it the following way. Give us back nuclear arms. Give us missile systems. Partners, help us finance the 1 million army. Move your contingent on the parts of our state where we want the stability of the situation so that the people have tranquility. If we're speaking about this, okay. But here the question arises that I mentioned to you. If we are not in NATO, why is he on our soil? If we're not in NATO, and America says that we are not ready to take Ukraine to NATO, then Putin must fully retreat from our territory. That is logical. Then we will speak about everything else. Financial compensation for all the losses we've suffered. Because there must be logic. He invaded because he was afraid we'll become NATO members. Okay, we're not NATO members. Go back of our land. It must be viewed like that.
Okay.
Because what else?
All I can tell you, first of all, when you have a translator, you should get somebody who really can translate comfortably and isn't fighting it. That young person was trying desperately to keep up in the translation, but it was tough. She was having a hard time. That being said, the key point that I wanted to point out was Zelensky was complaining that we're not giving him nuclear weapons.
Right.
Now, okay, this is a guy, by the way, who admitted a couple of days ago that he can account for, we've given him $177 billion worth of aid. He can only account for about $75 billion, which means there's $102 billion worth of aid that we've given him that he can't account for. But I can tell you this, there are a lot of Ukrainian billionaires and millionaires who've popped up in Switzerland and other places with beautiful estates on lakefront property, just really enjoying their newfound wealth.
Let me ask you a question. Do you give a weapon of mass destruction that can end life on this planet as we know it to anybody?
No, and especially somebody who is so irresponsible.
I'm not even talking about that. Do you give it to anybody, period?
I think that we have in the past. I would think
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I think that if we haven't done it directly, we've helped others develop theirs. probably helped Israel. We probably helped Great Britain to a certain extent. Maybe they helped us. But we've shared knowledge and helped them build up their weapon stockpile. But yeah, I'm with you, especially in a case like this. Understand something, that the Ukraine is desperate. They're kind of against the wall right now. They've lost hundreds of thousands of their best and their brightest to this stupid damn war. This ridiculous war that it never should have happened. Like Trump said, why would we give this guy a nuclear weapon? But he thinks, Bill, he thinks that he's owed it. If you hear how he talked, he thinks that he has a right to get nuclear weapons from us. Amazing.
No, he doesn't have a right. And quite honestly, now I know that, freely, we had help developing it, but either way, we had it, we used it. I don't know. There's a lot of, people going, well, we should have never done what we did. The war was over anyway, but either way, we did.
Well, a lot of people who are students of war would tell you that by doing what we did, as bad as it was, and it was terrible, we probably saved 8 million U.S. service people if we had to invade Japan.
No, I understand that, and I'm not arguing pro or against, but I'm saying you've got a genie that came out of the bottle that we put back in the bottle. It's a holy grail of weapons. We have it, China has it, and Russia has it, and that should be something that we don't share with anybody, and we put it away, because it's when you have it, you can't let go of it, because
being a baby boomer, I'm a bit sensitive, because I can tell you this much: my dad, who fought in the Battle of the Bulge, he said he was getting ready at the end of the war to be shipped overseas to the Asian theater, as they used to call it. I love how they call it a theater, like it's you're going to see a play. They were going to go over and they were going to fight in that war. So when the bombs were dropped, as terrible as they were, it's the fact that a lot of the baby boomers even exist today is probably a direct result of what happened.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that genie is out of the bottle, but we still have it. We have the knowledge and have it contained. Just the mere fact that we have it, and if we go to somebody's aid, they got to know that we have it, and that's always a last-minute ultimatum. So, but I just don't believe in giving it to, we give it to the Ukraine. That upsets a big balance of accepted power now that there is out there. That overturns everything.
I agree. Well, I don't think you're going to see the U.S. handing any nuclear weapons over.
So he shouldn't even ask for it.
But, it doesn't mean that other countries, there are countries, I think if push came to shove, you'd probably find out that France has probably nuclear weapons. You'd probably find out that, I know England has it. Germany probably has nuclear weapons that we don't know about. I mean, so they're NATO countries, and they make up their own mind. So I can't see that anybody in their right mind giving nuclear weapons to such an unstable environment. But God knows.
Well, the knowledge is out there. I mean, you can go to Wikipedia probably and figure out how to do it. You used to be able to go to Britannica and figure out how to, and there have been movies about it, kids that have figured out how to make a nuclear bomb. Anybody could figure it out. The science is there.
Didn't we talk a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when we started doing this, about how when the Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, there were a lot of nuclear weapons that were left there, and they didn't ship them all back to Russia. They're still there.
Right. Well, that's where I was going. Could some of those weapons or warheads, it's not the rocket that you need the warhead.
Right.
All right. Let's just say 3 of them went somewhere to some lab that sat there and said, okay, we see how it's done here. We can reverse engineer this. We can build it. We can make it better. And so, yeah, the technology could be around. One of the things we used to.
What if they just took those missiles, the warheads off those missiles, and put them on more sophisticated missiles that we've given them already? What if we gave them more more accurate missiles over the course of our involvement with the Biden administration, and they figure out, wait a second, we can jerry-rig this so we can put a nuclear warhead from one of the older weapons on this new rocket that can reach Moscow or just outside of Moscow, and this can be just as effective.
Yeah, I don't know. There'd be a lot of questions. I could argue whether, how viable is a nuclear warhead that's 50 years old, like digging up a bomb. It could be even more deadly and more apt to go off without its safety protocols than before, or it could go off and be a big dud. I even wonder about, Russia's got this big arsenal. How many of them are duds at this point in time? How many of ours are duds at this point in time? How do you know? I'm not a physicist. I couldn't tell you.
I heard Trump talk about how in his first administration he had to, as much to his dismay, by the way, he had to refurbish a lot of the nuclear arsenal. So I think in the first 4 years, you would probably find out that a lot of the nuclear weapons were swapped out. So ours probably are more recent than you. It would surprise you. I wanted to play this before we run out of time. Sure. Jumping Joe Biden. We talked about this yesterday.
He got a new gig, right?
Well, he got an agent. Joe's got an agent. Well, they brought this up to President Trump at one of his impromptu press conferences yesterday. You got to listen to how Trump responds. Listen.
What do you think about Joe Biden signing on with the talent agency?
You got to be kidding. He signed on with the talent agency?
He does. He's got some entertainment agents now.
I think he's got bigger problems than that. I really do. I think he's got much bigger problems than that, but I wish him well. We inherited a mess. This place is a mess, but it's quickly being solved, the problem. We're going to make America great again. Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Okay, so the key part of that, in my estimation, was, first of all, the disbelief was great. I love it. He did what? Oh, he really did?
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah, but the part that got me was when Trump said he's got bigger problems. I mean, if you were Joe Biden right now and you heard that, you'd cringe. What? What do you say?
Well, who's going to hire? Well, let's get Joe Biden in. He does great speeches. Let's get that guy in. Now, once upon a time, he could do a speech, but not now.
We need an endorsement from Joe Biden. What?
Lawn and gardens. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could be there. I could talk about, and you need a missile under your sprinklers. I mean, who knows? I mean, the hilarity of him going on.
Seriously, I think if I were Joe Biden, I would put a book out about, and the book would be Pardoning Your Friends and Your Family by Joe Biden. And maybe at the end of the book, have like a page that was blank. I mean, the recipient was blank, and just it was a pardon, and you could put your name in it, and Joe Biden's signature is there.
Oh, the Pardon Me book.
I like that. I like that. Pardon Me book from Joe Biden. That would be great.
Please pardon me. And then the page, the blank page, you sign, you print your name.
Yes.
And then the last page, somebody's going to do this now.
I think this is brilliant.
Is the authorization from Joe Robinette Biden.
Hey, maybe we'll put it in our store. Stop by our store and get a pardon from Joe.
A free pardon coming, from. Do you hear about this? Chuck Todd, who was fired.
Yes.
He's blaming it now on, what is it? He says it's Elon Musk has destroyed the trusted what is it? The information ecosystem.
This guy is
the information ecosystem was destroyed by Elon Musk. I'm going like, how in the hell did that happen? And you got just a couple of little things here. Should English be the language of the land?
I do. I think it should be, and I think it's going to. I guess Marjorie Taylor Greene has put together a bill. Here's what this is on. This is on Twitter. She said, "This week I am introducing two bills. One, abolishing the United States Agency for International Development. That's USAID. That's good. And number two, declaring English as the official language of the United States. Both of these are very important pieces of legislation that redirect our government back to putting America and Americans first and must become law. Co-sponsors welcome. What's interesting, a lot of stuff is done with executive order right now, closing down USAID, stuff like that. But what she's doing is the perfect backstop. She's going to introduce it as a piece of legislation. Hopefully, the Republicans will, as opposed to being a bunch of cats running in different directions, they'll get behind this and they'll back it. It'll get through a Senate, and then Trump will sign it and become law of the land. Then they'll have nothing they can complain about. The great dictator didn't do it. Do you have anything else you want to bring up before we wrap this up, Bill? I think we should talk first about our coffee, don't you?
Okay, talk about the coffee, and then I'll tell you about a holiday coming up in Florida.
Well, I should point out that if you are a thirsty individual like yours truly, you can't go a day without a good cup of coffee. There's a lot of great coffees out there. We see, he can't go a day without his coffee. There's a lot of nice coffees out there, but our coffee in particular is really good. We've, like Bill said, we interview each and every one of our coffee beans to make sure they match what we need to make that perfect blend.
They talk back to me. I don't know about
some of them are really sassy, but
they really are.
I can tell you, the coffee ends up being great. You can get it, by the way, at our shop, which is rightsideshop.com. It's an online store, rightsideshop.com. All you need is a credit card. You can see the different blends. We have a medium blend and a medium decaf blend. They're both really good coffees. Look at it. I can talk till my face is blue, or I'm blue in the face, or a reasonable fact smiley. I can talk forever about this. You got to taste it for yourself. Find out how good our coffee is. And by the way, you help in our show. We know if you look at our webpage, itsanotherday.com, you won't see a GoFundMe or donate here or Patreon. We don't have that because, and that's not to say we won't ever have it, because there are certain expenses that we right now we shoulder those expenses, but we figure that we should be giving you something in return for your help, and this is one way to do it, by having our little gift shop. Our little special area where you can buy stuff. And one of those things that you can buy is Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee. Medium blend and a medium decaf blend. And it's a delicious cup of coffee. You can sit there, Bill. I was thinking about this. You can buy the coffee in our shop, and you can buy a cup in our shop, a specially designed cup in our shop. You can buy a sweatshirt if you're a little chilly. And you can wear that while you're drinking your coffee. And you can buy a hat in our shop. I mean, we have got you literally. Do we have pants there yet, Bill? I'm just curious.
No trousers, no pantalones.
No pantalones. Well, maybe down the road. We basically got you covered. Not every part of you, but a lot of you covered. Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee. Portions of the profits come back to us. Not a big portion, but a portion comes back to us. Everything else goes to expenses and middlemen and stuff like that. But that little help that you give us will help us promote the show down the road and grow us from 4 million listeners a week to 40 maybe, or 400,000, 400 million. Who knows? The sky's the limit, if you know what I mean. Now, we have Jim and Bill at Right Side Coffee. We have Juan and Jose and the Border Crossers here, and they have been patiently waiting for their second opportunity to sing for you. So without any further ado, those dashing Latinos, Juan, Jose, and the Border Crossers.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Wonderful job. All right, wonderful job. Try it. Right Side Coffee at rightsideshop.com. Bill, you had one more story you wanted to pass along to the multitudes?
Yeah. Story out of Florida. Ron DeSantis has declared it a holiday down there for the summer. It's kind of like Christmas in the summer, where it's a tax-free Christmas. Now, there is a caveat to it. It runs from Memorial Day to July 4th, but apparently during that summertime of the year down there, you can purchase your guns and ammo totally tax-free. The Dems are going to love this.
Florida is my kind of state. I have friends who live there. The guy who gave us our new blend of coffee, Make America Percolate Again,
Yeah, he's down there.
Yeah, Bart, my buddy Bart is down there in Vero Beach, and he's a regular listener to the show. So obviously, a man of great taste. He said humbly, but he lives well. 10 months out of the year, he's got perfect sunshine, and he's envied. Okay, yeah, during the summer months, it gets a little tough. A little tough.
I think June, you got 1 month that is just like the monsoons. And then you get a little bit, actually, in December, you get like some high winds and stuff.
Really?
I mean, I used to live down there. I know. I remember that.
You're one of the few people in the world who's moved away from Florida. Bill, what were you thinking?
No, I worked for a company, and they shut down the Florida plant, and they moved me to Texas.
Well, that's not a bad state.
I was like, no, because I went to Austin, Texas.
Oh, God bless you.
The offices, the studios,
the liberal center.
We were right down the road from the Capitol on Congress Street, big office building there. I think we were on the 14th floor. It's like, oh, jeez.
So you were in Austin. You went from Florida to Austin, but Florida was a nice place to live most of the year, right? I mean, most of the year was
it was great. I missed it, I moved to Texas with my motorcycle. I said, well, I'll take it out for a ride. Once you get out of the city, there's a lot of cactus out there, and I was going like, I'd take this bad boy out too far.
Wait. You're talking about Texas now.
Texas.
I was talking about Florida.
Gas? No, Florida's fine. That's a great place to ride your motorcycle. But I'm saying moving to Texas, it was a whole different thing,
Yeah. Well, we could go on and on, but this is now the longest show in the history of our shows. We've actually given you almost like 2 shows for the price of 1 today. Think of it as a 2 for a day. We do that occasionally. You just can't shut us up. But
we got confused on the days. It's 2 for Wednesday instead of 2 for Tuesday.
Yes. What's a day amongst friends? Hey, listen, I'm done here. You, sir, can wrap it up in a way that only you do so well.
Well, since we're rushed for time, I'll just go, hasta la vista, baby. We're out of here.
This is CRN America.